I just remember sitting on the edge of the bed and I said, hey, we need to talk. And I remember her leaning back and saying, what did you do? And I just let it out. I said, I've been having an affair. I mean, quite frankly, I felt like I had killed my wife's spirit. I took a piece of her soul in that. And I found this company called Affair Recovery online, and I want you to take a look at it and see what you think. And that was the breakthrough that just opened Pandora's box for healing. I was a raging alcoholic for a considerable amount of time. My wife had always been there for me and suffered through a great deal in terms of like being a disabled veteran, retired officer, dealing with all these issues and things that I had seen and bore witness to and was involved in. And I always just pressured her to be more in tune with how I reacted as someone dealing with post-traumatic stress from the military and the law enforcement career. I mean, quite frankly, I was verbally abusive. I was emotionally abusive to her as I was in that season of life. And she would never cater to that. Ultimately, it led to incredible selfishness on my behalf as I looked at her so intently to fill that void. And because she stood firm in what she believed about what it looks like to be a good husband and a man of faith and what she saw in me, my thanks to her for that was I ultimately pursued someone who would validate that feeling. It was something that I felt or thought I needed at that time. I believed a lie, quite frankly. And so I ultimately ended up in about a 6-week-long affair. To really add to the betrayal of it, I only told her when I was about to be exposed on it. The immediate outburst of anger and tears and lashing out, it was catastrophic. And then the immediate, for me, feelings of shame. I legit used to make fun of guys that cheated on their spouses, and now I'd become one. I don't necessarily know that I felt like a man anymore. It was like I was an immature little boy. I just broke a covenant that I had made with my wife and with Christ when we got married. I'm no longer, like everything I ever stood for at that moment as far as integrity and being like a bold man was null and void. I was in my trailer. I'm removing myself from social media and this ad pops in for Rise Up Kings. What I had learned is that this is a group of men where they go to this event and they do a deep dive into their mentality. During the Rise Up Kings experience, you're doing some processing with one of the coaches. And I explained to him again, kind of going into this victim mentality mindset again of like, you know, my wife, like I had an affair and it's because my wife, like, man, I just want her to stop being so controlling over me and just love me for me. And he looked me dead in the face and he goes, I got news for you, brother. He goes, your wife isn't the controlling one, you are. You're the problem. There's nowhere for me to go but God at this point. I knew God was real. I believed in God, but I wasn't in relationship with him. Despite all those horrific feelings that I felt about myself and the onslaught of hurt that was justifiably coming my way, I found Jesus at the bottom of it with his arms wide open, welcoming me. And I felt like in that moment, it was like he's telling me, like, you tried to do it for so long on your own. And it's time to try it my way. And however it looked, whether we reconciled or not, I was gonna do every single thing I could. And after months and months of just showing up differently, she started to get a little curious. And so she said, I wanna do some different work, and I found this company called Affair Recovery online, and I want you to take a look at it and see what you think. When it came to EMS weekend, as we get to the event, this 3-day intensive program that teaches you how to deal with the challenges that are so prevalent with infidelity. And the one big one I think that was for me was the lesson in empathy. I'd spent the last 25 years being non-empathetic in every manner of my life. There was no getting into it with her. There's no like, I'm gonna sit in this thing with you, I'm gonna experience what you're experiencing, and we're gonna get out of it together. When Rick said, hey, we're gonna separate the groups, and you're gonna draft a letter to your wife. And when I started listing these things out, and I'm not even finished with the letter, and I'm already just in tears, because now EMS Weekend had created this space for me to get curious about what is she feeling? And then, man, to sit across from her and tell her those things created such a beautiful moment of healing, because what she said to me afterwards was, she said, it was right then and there that I knew you finally got it. And that was the breakthrough that just opened Pandora's box for healing. The things that I had learned through Rise Up Kings, the things that we had learned at EMS Weekend, it was like God set the stage and said, okay, cool, I'm gonna lay out this path for you. You're gonna start here, then you two are gonna go here, and then you both are gonna continue by going here and here. We've just learned to be in relationship with one another. We've learned to be on the same team. I can say in good faith that our marriage has never been better. It's continued work, yeah. It doesn't mean we're exempt from attacks. It doesn't mean we're exempt from triggers. It doesn't mean we're exempt from arguments. But we just do it differently now. It's very likely that people who are exploring this opportunity are in their worst moment. They're dealing with a substantial amount of pain from this betrayal, whether you are the betrayed or you're the wayward spouse. Whatever it is, they're on their trailer floor. And the only thing I can say to them is get up. There is hope. If you have air in your lungs, there is purpose for you. And there are resources, and you are not alone. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of couples that are dealing with, and God still has purpose for them. You are no different, but being willing to go there, to enter a space of vulnerability, to allow yourself to break down the walls and allow that healing to occur, that's the win. Is the path simple? Not at all. But is it worth it? 150%.